So today's topic is STD, that is sexually transmitted diseases. The sexually transmitted diseases, that is STD, are a group of communicable diseases that are transmitted predominantly by sexual contact and caused by a wide range of bacterial, viral, protozoal, and fungal agents and ectoparasites. So it is communicable diseases transmitted due to sexual contact due to bacteria, virus, protozoa, fungal, and ectoparasites. So according to agents, its classification. So first is bacterial agents. So bacteria which causes STD. The Neisseria gonorrhea, Chlamydia trachomatis, Treponema pallidum, Haemophilus, Mycoplasma hominis, Ureaplasma ureolyticum, Calymatabacterium granulomatus, Shigella species, Campylobacter, group B Streptococcus, bacteria or vaginosis associated organism. So these are bacterial agents. Next are viral agents. In viral agents, it is human alpha herpes virus 1 or 2, that is herpes simplex virus. Second is human beta herpes virus 5. It is formerly cytomegalovirus, but it is now known as HPV 5. Then hepatitis virus B. Then human papilloma virus. Molluscum contagiosum virus. Human immunodeficiency virus, that is HIV. So these are viral agents. Then protozoal agents, that is Entamoeba histolytica, Giardia lamblia, Trichomonas vaginalis. Next is fungal agents like Candida albicans. Next is ectoparasites like Therus pubis and Sarcoptes cabae. So these are agents which cause sexually transmitted diseases. So what is the extent of problem? So in the world, the true incidence of STD will never be known. Why? Because of inadequate reporting, but because of secrecy that surrounds them. Means patients do not reveal that they have STDs or they not go for treatment. So incidence, to tell incidence, it is very difficult. So more than 1 million people acquire sexually transmitted diseases every day. Each year, an estimated more than 1 million people acquire sexually transmitted diseases every day. Each year, an estimated 500 million people acquire one of the 4 STDs, that is chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis, and trichomoniasis. So these are main 4 STDs. Next, more than 530 million people are living with HSV2, that is herpes simplex virus 2, that causes genital herpes. And more than 290 million women have an human papilloma virus infection, which is one of the most common STD. Positive factor for cervical cancer, human papilloma virus. Then mother to child transmission of STD can result in stillbirth, neonatal death, low birth weight and prematurity, sepsis, pneumonia, neonatal conjunctivitis, and congenital deformities. So, syphilis in pregnancy leads to approximately 3,05,000 fetal and neonatal deaths every year.
एक वाजत आलाय. इम्पॉर्टंट नाही तुला.
So syphilis in pregnancy leads to approximately 3,05,000 fetal and neonatal deaths every year and leaves 2,15,000 infants at an increased risk of dying from prematurity, low birth weight and congenital diseases. Human papilloma virus causes 5,30,000 cases of cervical cancer and 2,75,000 cervical cancer deaths each year. See the incidence. 5,30,000 cases of cervical cancer are due to HPV each year and 2,75,000 cervical cancer deaths due to HPV. Also, gonorrhea and chlamydia are major causes of PID, that is pelvic inflammatory diseases, which causes adverse pregnancy outcome and infertility. Then, problem in India, sexually transmitted diseases are becoming a major public health problem in India. So, syphilis, during 2013, about 33,570 cases of syphilis. In that, 18,081 are male and 15,489 are female, were reported in the country with one death. Gonorrhea, during 2013, about 97,180 people are with gonorrhea. In that, 31,564 are male and 65,616 are female. They are reported in the country. Then chancroid or soft sore is reported to be fairly widely prevalent in India. Then LGV, that is lymphogranuloma venereum. It is reported to be more prevalent in southern states of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra and Karnataka than in northern states. Then donovanosis or granuloma inguinale is an endemic in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, Karnataka and Maharashtra. So this is prevalence in India. And what are epidemiological determinants? Agent factors. Over 20 pathogens have been found to spread by sexual contacts. So its classification of these agents and disease caused by them as follows. See the table which shows important sexually transmitted pathogens and diseases caused by them. So pathogen Neisseria gonorrhea cause the disease like gonorrhea, urethritis, cervicitis, epididymitis, salpingitis, PID, neonatal conjunctivitis. Also, Treponema pallidum is responsible for syphilis. Haemophilus ducrei responsible for chancroid. Then Chlamydia trachomatis causes LGV, urethritis, cervicitis, proctitis, epididymis, infant pneumonia, Raynaud syndrome, PID, neonatal conjunctivitis. Calymatobacterium granulomatis is responsible for donovanosis or granuloma inguinale. Herpes simplex virus leads to genital herpes. Hepatitis B virus leads to acute and chronic hepatitis. Human papilloma virus leads to genital and anal warts. Also cervical cancer. Human immunodeficiency virus leads to AIDS. Molluscum contagiosum responsible for genital molluscum contagiosum. Candida albicans leads to vaginitis. Also Trichomonas vaginalis leads to vaginitis. So these are important pathogens and the diseases caused by them. Then host factors. So first is age. For most notifiable STDs, the highest rates of incidence are observed in 20 to 24-year-olds, followed by 25 to 29 and 15 to 19 years of age group. So main incidence is found in 20 to 24 years old. Sex incidence. For most STDs, the overall morbidity rate is higher in men, women, but the morbidity caused by infection is generally much more severe in women, as for example in PIDs like pelvic inflammatory diseases. So incidence is more in men, but morbidity is severe in women. In marital status, the frequency of STD infection is higher among single, divorced, and separated person than among married couples. Socioeconomic status, individuals from lowest socioeconomic groups have the highest morbidity rate. Then there are some demographic factors. Certain demographic factors will undoubtedly contribute to increase in STDs in developing countries. This includes population explosion. Second one is marked increase in number of young people, which are the highest risk for STD in the population. Then rural to urban migration. And fourth one is women delaying their marriages and increasing STD risk. Then there are some social factors. Numerous social and behavioral factors are involved in spread of STDs. This includes prostitution. This is the major factor in spread of STDs. The prostitute act as a reservoir of infection. The male component of prostitution, that is the prostituent, is an equally important. Prostitution supplies or demand. If there were no prostitutes, there would be no prostitutes. So main social factor is prostitution. Next social factor is broken homes. Social studies indicate the promiscuous woman, that is the women having or characterized by many transient sexual relationships, are usually drawn from broken homes. For example, homes which are broken either due to death of one or both parents or their separation. Yes, Rizwan? Message kar mala. Then sexual disharmony. Married people with strained relations, divorced or separated persons are often victims of STDs. Then easy money. In most of developing world, prostitution is simply a reflection of poverty because it provides an occupation for earning easy money. So it is fostered by lack of female employment and the prospect of financial return impossible to achieve by other means. So for gaining of easy money, prostitution is the easy occupation. Then emotional immaturity. This has been often stressed as a social factor acquiring STDs. The next factor is urbanization and industrialization. These are conducive to the type of lifestyles that contributes to high levels of infection, long working hours, relative isolation from family, and geographical and social morbidity. This all encourages casual sexual relationships. And social disruption caused by disasters, wars, and civil unrest have always caused an increase in spread of STDs. Like Second World War, there is a more spread of syphilis. Then international travel. Travelers can import as well as export infection, and their important role in transmission of STDs exemplified by the rapid spread throughout the world of a resistant strains of Neisseria gonorrhea and AIDS. Mainly, AIDS is initially caused as a disease of travelers. Then changing behavioral patterns. In modern society, the value of traditionally set on chastity is in conflict with more recent ideas of independence, freedom from supervision, and equal rights for both sexes. So, changes in behavioral patterns. There has been a relaxation of moral and cultural values in present day society. The tendency to break away from the traditional ways of life is particularly marked among young people. So, behavioral pattern is changed, which leads to STDs. The social stigma. The social stigma attached to STD accounts for the non-detection of cases, not disclosing the source of contacts, dropping out before the treatment is completed, going to the quacks for treatment, and self-treatment. These are the factors which increases the prevalence of STD. Then alcoholism. The effect of alcohol seems to be more indirect than direct. Alcohol may encourage prostitution, and conversely, prostitution may boost the sale of alcohol. So these are social factors. Again, we'll revise social factors. First is prostitution, broken homes, sexual disharmony, easy money, emotional immaturity, urbanization and industrialization, social disruption, international travelers, changing behavioral patterns, social stigma, and alcoholism. So these are epidemiological factors. Various STDs. First one is gonococcal infection. Gonococcal infection. So gonorrhea is a sexually transmitted infection caused by bacteria Neisseria gonorrhea. It can infect both male and woman and typically affects one or more of the following, that is urethra, throat, rectum, and cervix. So gonorrhea is a venereal disease. The disease is acquired by sexual contact. Its general incubation is 2 to 8 days. In men, the disease starts as a purulent discharge. Purulent means pus-like discharge containing gonococci in a large number. The disease spreads to prostate, seminal vesicle, and epididymis. In men, chronic urethritis may lead to stricture formation. So, clinical presentation in males. Majority of males present with acute urethritis with purulent discharge, and 5% of patients carry bacteria without any disease, means without any symptom. Rectal and pharyngeal infections are less often symptomatic. Clinical presentation in females. Endocervix infection is the most common presentation in women, which presents with vaginal discharge and dysuria. Infection and abscess of Bartholin and Skene's gland. Some other manifestations of gonococcal infection like rectal infection, that is proctitis, with Neisseria gonorrhea occurs in 1/3 of women with cervical infection. It is rarely symptomatic. Also, it can cause acute salpingitis, pelvic inflammatory diseases, sterility, peritonitis, Fitz-Hughes Curtis syndrome, disseminated gonococcus infection. Painful joints may lead to arthritis, fever, few septic lesions on extremities, meningitis, and endocarditis. These are rare symptoms which can occur due to gonococcal infection. So it can manifest as oral infection, changing sexual practices, and oral sex predispose the sex partners with involvement of oropharyngeal regions, which lead to oropharyngitis. Then gonococcal ophthalmia. Babies born to infected women suffer can lead to serious condition of ophthalmia neonatal, which manifest with severe purulent discharge with periorbital edema within few days of birth. You can see it in image. Topical application of 1% silver nitrate has drastically reduced the incidence. As the crude silver nitrate can affect the ophthalmia neonatal, we can use argentum nitricum, homeopathic medicine, for ophthalmia neonatal. In present context, topical erythromycin also used. Then disseminated infections of gonococcus. It is seen more commonly in women who may present with painful joints, fever, and few septic lesions on extremities. Rarely disseminated infection may present at endocarditis or meningitis. Disseminated means which are not related to genital organs. Other than genital organs means it can affect joint, extremities, or heart, CNS system. That is disseminated infections. Laboratory diagnosis. Specimens are collected with care and caution. Specimens are collected from sites with scanty commensals. Example from endocervix. Gram staining method is used, which is sensitive in 95% of infections. The possible complications in women include PID, that is pelvic inflammatory diseases, and long-term sequelae of PID, that is increased risk of ectopic pregnancy, infertility, chronic pelvic pain. And in men, complications include inflammation of epididymis. Long-term consequences are subfertility and possibly urethral strictures. Serious consequences in infants includes eye infection, which can lead to blindness if not treated. The antibiotics of choice are ciprofloxacin, ceftriaxone, cefixime, or spectinomycin. Next disease is syphilis. I am not going in detail because you already learned it in pathology. So syphilis, positive organism, Treponema pallidum. Its transmission is by sexual contact, transplacental means during pregnancy, percutaneous following contact with infectious lesion, then blood transfusion. Of syphilis, it is not reported, no single case since 1964. Infectious dose of syphilis, it is approximately 57 organisms, means 57 organisms of Treponema pallidum. Its incubation period is approximately 21 days. It is in 3 stages. First is primary stage, which shows painless sores, that is chancre at inoculation site. Secondary syphilis, it shows rash, fever, lymphadenopathy, and malaise. Tertiary or latent syphilis shows CNS invasion or other organ damages. Primary syphilis, its clinical manifestations, its incubation is 10 to 90 days and average about 3 weeks. Chancre, it is in early stage, it is macule or papule which erodes. In late stage, it is clean based, painless, indurated ulcer with smooth film borders. पंच्ड आउट अल्सर म्हणतो आपण. आपण पंचिंग मशीन पंच केल्यावर जसे अल्सर्स दिसतात त्याला आपण शँकर म्हणतो. पंच्ड आउट अल्सर. It is unnoticed in 15 to 30% of patients, and it can resolve in 1 to 5 weeks. But this stage is highly infectious. Secondary syphilis, it represents hematogenous dissemination of spirochetes, that is Treponema pallidum. It usually 2 to 8 weeks after chancre appears. Means after primary syphilis, it is after 2 to 8 weeks. Here findings are rash, which may be on whole body, and it mainly includes palms and soles. It may be on mucous patches. There may be presence of condylomata lata, which is highly infectious, and constitutional symptoms can be present like fever, malaise. The symptoms can resolve in 2 to 10 weeks. See the images, eruptions, skin eruptions in secondary syphilis. It is called as condylomata lata. Then congenital syphilis. Congenital syphilis usually occurs following vertical transmission of Treponema pallidum. Vertical means during delivery from the infected mother to the fetus in utero. But neonates may also be infected during passage through the infected birth canal at delivery. Then diagnosis of syphilis, mainly history and clinical examination is important in syphilis. Then dark field microscopy, special technique used to demonstrate spirochetes as a shiny, motile, spiral structure with a dark background. The specimen includes oozing from the lesions. It is usually positive in primary and secondary stages, and it is most useful in the primary stage when serological tests are still negative. Some lab testings, direct examination of clinical specimen by dark field microscopy or fluorescent antibody testing sample. Then non-specific or non-treponemal serological test to detect reagent, utilized as a screening test only. It is only screening test. The specific treponemal antibody test are used as a confirmatory test for positive reagent test. So mainly 3 tests: dark field microscopy, non-specific or non-treponemal serological test, then specific treponemal antibody test. This serological test means VDRL, which we routinely test during pregnancy. VDRL. Mainly evaluation is based on 3 factors. First is clinical findings. Second, demonstration of spirochetes in clinical specimen. Presence of antibodies in the blood or cerebrospinal fluid. More than one test should be performed for final diagnosis. Then provisional diagnosis of syphilis. The presumptive diagnosis is possibly with sequential serological test, that is VDRL. Biopsy is rarely needed in syphilis. The biopsy shows endarteritis obliterans with inflammatory reaction containing plenty of plasma cells. Granuloma may be found in tertiary syphilis. So, every pregnant woman needs screening for syphilis. So, in short, syphilis causes ulceration of urogenital tract, mouth, or rectum. Other signs of these infections occurring in later stages ranges from skin eruption to complication of cardiovascular and nervous system, that is endocarditis or meningitis. Congenital syphilis is an important cause of stillbirth. The antibiotic of choice is penicillin, doxycycline, and chlamydia trachomatis. It is more than 3 million new cases annually, which is responsible for causing cervicitis, urethritis, proctitis, lymphogranuloma venereum, pelvic inflammatory diseases. So, it is responsible for number of diseases. If you remember, it is responsible for trachoma also, chlamydia trachomatis. Direct and indirect cause of chlamydia infection run into billions of dollars. So it has also potential to transmit to newborn during delivery, causing conjunctivitis and pneumonia in infants. You can see in image, it is normal cervix. And if you see chlamydial cervicitis, it look like inflamed. So what are laboratory tests for chlamydia? Laboratory test, first is tissue culture. Its specificity is approaching 100% and sensitivity is from 60% to 90%. Some other tests like non-amplified test. First one is enzyme immunoassays, that is EIA. Example, chlamydia enzyme. Its sensitivity and specificity 85% and 97% respectively. It is useful for high volume screening and it may be false positive. Second test is nucleic acid hybridization, that is NA-probe. Example of it that is gene probe phase 2. Its sensitivity ranging from 75% to 100% and specificity is greater than 90%. But these two are not more commonly used. Commonly used is tissue culture. Also some other tests like DNA amplification, DNA amplification assays, that is PCR, polymerase chain reaction and ligase chain reaction. Their sensitivities with PCR and LCR is 95% and 85 to 98% respectively, and its specificity is 100%. For LCR, the sample should be first void urine. So in short, chlamydial infection, a high percentage of individuals have no obvious clinical manifestation of this infection. So many of patients are asymptomatic. If symptoms occur, they are similar like gonorrhea, which we have already seen. Symptoms same like gonorrhea. Their complications, which are also similar for gonorrhea, can result in sterility in women, also vertical transmission during childbirth, which leading to conjunctivitis and eye inflammation in newborns. In men, it can cause urethritis with possible epididymitis. The antibiotics used are doxycycline or azithromycin. The alternative antibiotics are amoxicillin, ofloxacin, erythromycin or tetracycline. So chlamydial infection, the causative organism is Chlamydia trachomatis. It is also similar like gonorrhea and it can cause number of diseases: urethritis, cervicitis, vaginitis, lympho. One sec. It can also cause trachoma. Then trichomoniasis. Trichomoniasis is an infectious disease caused caused by the parasite Trichomonas vaginalis. You can see the image of parasite Trichomonas vaginalis. About 70% of women and men do not have any symptoms when infected. So it is also mostly asymptomatic. In 70% of cases it is asymptomatic. But when symptoms occurs, they are typically begin 5 to 28 days after exposure. So incubation period is 5 to 28 days. Most people infected with Trichomonas vaginalis do not have any symptoms and can be undetected for years. Means even if there are some minute symptoms, they are detected after years. Symptoms experienced include pain, burning or itching in penis, urethra, that is urethritis, or in vagina, that is vaginitis. Also, discomfort for both sexes may increase during intercourse and urination. Also, for women, there may be yellow, green, itchy, frothy, foul smelling, that is fishy smelling, vaginal discharge. So, in rare cases, there may be lower abdominal pain. So, symptoms of Trichomonas vaginalis includes urethritis, vaginitis, itching in the penis, dyspareunia, or vaginal discharges which is very foul smelling, yellow, green. There may be itching, and in some cases there may be abdominal pain. Complications. Trichomoniasis is associated with increased risk of transmission and infection of HIV. Trichomoniasis may cause a woman to deliver low birth weight or premature infant. The role of Trichomonas infection in causing cervical cancer is unclear, but Trichomonas infection may be associated with co-infection with high risk strain of HPV, that is human papilloma virus, which is responsible for cervical cancer. So, its relation with Trichomonas infection is still not clear, but it may be associated with infection of HPV. Trichomonas vaginalis infection in males has been found to cause asymptomatic urethritis and prostatitis. In the prostate, it may create chronic inflammation that may eventually lead to prostate cancer. These symptoms and complications occurs only in 30% cases. 70% cases are asymptomatic and self-healing. Diagnosis. There are three main ways to test for trichomoniasis. The first is known as saline microscopy. So through microscope, it can be diagnosed as a Trichomoniasis vaginalis. We can see Trichomonas vaginal parasite through microscope. This is the most commonly used method, and it requires endocervical, vaginal or penile swab specimen for examination under the microscope. The presence of one or more multiple trichomonads constitutes a positive result. This method is very cheap but has low sensitivity, that is only 60 to 70%, often due to inadequate sample resulting in false negative. Sometimes false negative results also be there. Next method is culture, which has historically been the gold standards in infectious disease diagnosis. Trichomonas vaginalis culture tests are relatively cheap and its sensitivity is also low, that is 70 to 89%. Third method includes nucleic acid amplification test, that is NAT, NAATS. nucleic acid amplification test, which are more sensitive. These tests are more costly than microscopy and culture and are highly sensitive, that is 80 to 90%. So three methods are there. First is microscopy, saline microscopy. Second is culture, and third is nucleic acid amplification test. So in short, trichomoniasis, this is the parasitic infection which leads to vaginitis and vaginal discharge in women. Usually there are no symptoms. In males, it causes urethritis. There is an increased evidence that T. vaginalis may cause adverse outcomes in pregnancy. For example, low birth weight and premature rupture of membrane, which leads to premature birth. The treatment option is metronidazole or tinidazole. As it is parasitic infection, metronidazole and tinidazole is a choice of treatment. Lymphogranuloma venereum. It is also caused by Chlamydia trachomatis. It commonly presents with swelling of lymph nodes in the groin. Although initially there is a small painless ulcer of genitalia 30 to 30 days after exposure, it may pass unrecognized and resolve spontaneously. So the ulcer is small, painless, which is come after 30 to 30 days after exposure, and it may be unrecognized and it resolves spontaneously without treatment. In some cases, if untreated, the disease may cause extensive lymphatic damage, which results in elephantiasis of the genitalia. So, in some cases, it resolves spontaneously on its own, but in some cases, it can cause elephantiasis. The antibiotics used are doxycycline, erythromycin, and tetracycline. Surgical operation may be of benefit in cases with extensive elephantiasis or any deformity. Next disease is chancroid. Chancroid is a bacterial sexually transmitted infection characterized by painful sores on the genitalia. Chancroid is known to spread from one individual to another solely through sexual contact. It is a bacterial infection caused by the Streptobacillus Haemophilus ducreyi, which is gram-negative bacteria. Streptobacillus Haemophilus ducreyi, which is gram-negative bacteria. You may be confused with chancre of primary syphilis, but it is different. Primary syphilis is a chancre and it is chancroid. Chancroid is painful and chancre is painless. H. ducreyi enters the skin through microabrasion incurred during sexual intercourse. A local tissue reaction leads to development of erythematous papule, which progresses to pustule in 4 to 7 days. It then undergoes central necrosis to ulceration. You can see in the image, the white ulcerative part is called as chancroid. It looks like chancre, that is punched out type. Yesterday I told punched out ulcer. It is called as chancre. It looks like chancre, but it is not chancre. The chancre is caused in primary syphilis. And it is chancroid, caused due to bacteria Haemophilus ducreyi. Signs and symptoms. There are only local symptoms. No systemic manifestations are present. The ulcer is characteristically ranges in size dramatically from 3 to 50 mm. 3 to 50 mm is size of ulcer. It is painful. It has sharply defined, undermined borders. It has sometimes irregular or ragged borders. It has a base that is covered with grey or yellowish grey material, and the base bleeds easily if traumatized or scraped. There may be presence of painful lymphadenopathy, which occurs in 30 to 60% of cases, and also symptoms of dysuria, that is pain with urination, and dyspareunia, that is pain with intercourse in females. So symptoms are, first is ulcer. The ulcer, which ranges from 3 to 50 mm, which is painful. It is sharply defined. The borders are irregular or ragged borders. It has a base which is covered with grey or yellowish grey material, and that base bleeds easily if it is traumatized or scraped. There may be presence of lymphadenopathy, which is painful in some cases, that is 30 to 60% cases, and also presence of dysuria and dyspareunia in females. Common sites for these ulcers in males, it is internal and external surface of prepuce, coronal sulcus, frenulum, shaft of penis, prepucial orifice, urethral meatus, glans penis, and perineum area. So in males, the sites are internal and external surface of prepuce, coronal sulcus, frenulum, shaft of penis, prepucial orifice, urethral meatus, glans penis, and perineum area. And in females, the common sites are labia majora, and other sites are forecheck, vestibule, clitoris, perineal area, and inner thighs. So in females, the common site is labia majora, and other sites are forecheck, vestibule, clitoris, perineal area, and sometimes inner thighs. Laboratory findings from bubo, pus or ulcer secretions, escherichia can be identified. Complications: there may be formation of extensive adenitis. Large inguinal abscess may develop which rupture to form draining sinus or giant ulcer. There may be possibility of superinfection. This later require debridement and may result in disfiguring scars. Superinfection means infection with other organisms also. Phimosis can develop in long-standing lesions by scarring and thickening of foreskin, which may be subsequently require circumcision. So complications are extensive adenitis. There may be formation of abscess which leads to sinus, superinfection, and phimosis. So in short, chancroiditis, after infection, a small pupil develops at the site of inoculation, which is normally within 2 to 3 days. The lesions erodes into deep ulcer that is extremely painful, and in about 25% of patients, there is a painful swelling of one or other inguinal lymph nodes, which is called as bubo. The antibiotics of choice are ciprofloxacin, erythromycin, ceftriaxone, and azithromycin. The next disease is donovanosis. Donovanosis, also called as granuloma inguinale, is a sexually transmitted, that is venereal infection, bacterial infection that affects skin and mucous membrane of anal and genital area. So donovanosis, it is also called as granuloma inguinale. It is a bacterial infection which affects skin and mucous membranes of anal and genital areas. Its name is derived from granuloma, a medical term for mass or growth of granulation tissue. So granuloma for mass or growth of granulation tissue. And inguinal is a Latin word that means located in the groin region. So it is called as granuloma inguinale, as there is a mass or growth of granulation tissue which is commonly present in groin region. So it is called as granuloma inguinale. Donovanosis, its diagnosis is made by microscopic examination and identification of safety pin shape. You can see in image that is the bacteria is safety pin shape or routine use safety pin. Safety pin सारखे दिसतात ते bacteria. So safety pin shape cellular bodies that are named as Donovan bodies in the cytoplasm of phagocytes, taken from the lesion and dyed with Wright's or Giemsa stain or by histological examination of biopsy specimen. So it is called as donovanosis. So name is clear, granuloma inguinale, because it is mass or growth of granulation tissue which is commonly present in groin region. So granuloma inguinale. And donovanosis because the bacteria is safety pin shaped and it is called as Donovan bodies. So it is called as donovanosis. It is caused due to Klebsiella granulomatosis bacteria. Klebsiella granulomatis. It is formerly called as Calymatobacterium granulomatis. Calymatobacterium granulomatis. It is a small gram-negative rod bacillus. It is a small gram-negative and rod bacillus. They are non-motile and encapsulated organism. So they are observed in macrophages, cytoplasm as a Donovan bodies. So causative organism is Klebsiella granulomatis. Its clinical presentation: the bacteria has an incubation period ranging from 8 days to 12 weeks. Incubation period is 8 days to 12 weeks with an average of 2 to 4 weeks. The disease has gradual and slow onset, which begins with discrete papule or small pustule or the lumpy eruption on the skin. In 90% of cases, the initial signs of infection is in the genital region, but a minority of patients will develop the papule in their mouth or anal area if there is sexual contact involved those part of the body. So 90% of cases shows the first sign in the genital region. The initial papule or pustule is typically followed by 3 stages of disease. So initially there is a formation of which is followed by 3 stages. In the first stage, the patient develops mass of pink or granulation tissue in the area around the. So in first stage, there is a development of mass of pink or dull red granulation tissue. In second stage, the bacteria erodes the skin to form shallow and foul-smelling ulcers, which spread from genital and anal areas to the thighs and lower abdomen. The edges of ulcers are marked by granulation tissue. So initially there is a formation of papule or pustule which converts in first stage into the pink or dull red granulation tissue. And in second stage, it forms the ulcer which is shallow and foul smelling ulcer. and it may spread to the thighs and lower abdomen. In third stage, the ulcerated areas forms the deep masses of keloid or scar tissue that may spread slowly for many years. So in third stage, it forms the keloid or scar tissue. Patients with long-term infection are at risk of serious complications. The ulcers in the second stage granuloma inguinal often become super-infected with syphilis or other STD organism. So in second stage, that is in ulcer which are very foul smelling, they are often become super infected with other organism like syphilis. Major sites of lesion: penile ulcers, that is sulcocoronal and balanopreputeal regions, labia minora, fourchette, and cervix, which is uncommon site. Diagnosis is made by swabbing the lesion and Giemsa staining of the air-dried smear. So in short, donovanosis, its synonyms are granuloma inguinal and granuloma venereum. The first manifestation appearing after 3 to 40 days, that is incubation period, is usually a small papule which rupture from granulomatous lesion that is characteristically pain-free and which bleeds readily on contact, often elevated above the level of surrounding skin. Here, antibiotics used are azithromycin and doxycycline, or alternatively erythromycin, tetracycline, trimethoprim, sulfamethoxazole. Next disease is genital herpes. Herpes simplex virus type 2. It is the primary cause of genital herpes. Herpes means Nagin. Herpes simplex virus type 2 is the primary cause of genital herpes. Classical genital herpes can be recognized by the presence of typical papular lesions that progress to multiple blisters and ulcers. Its epidemiology: it is one of the three most common STDs, which is increased 30% from late 70s to early 90s. 25% of US population is by age of 35. In that also, herpes simplex virus 2 is 80 to 90% cases and HSV1 is 10 to 20%. Most cases are subclinical and transmission is primarily from subclinical infections. So clinical manifestation: direct contact may be with asymptomatic shedding. Primary infection commonly is asymptomatic, that is subclinical phases. Symptomatic cases sometimes severe, prolonged, and shows systemic manifestations. In first stage, there is a formation of vesicle, then it leads to painful ulceration, and then it leads to crusting. Its diagnosis is made by culture, serology, and by PCR, that is polymerase chain reaction. You can see in the image, there is a formation of papules, papular rash. So first episode of the disease manifestation are frequently associated with prolonged course of ulceration, which lasts for 2 to 4 weeks. Antiviral treatment of these episodes can be very effective in shortening the duration and alleviating pain. So, its ulceration course is for 3 to 4 weeks. Means starts from papules to vesicles, then crusting. It takes time up to 3 to 4 weeks. So with the help of antiviral treatment, we can decrease the or shorten the duration. HSV2 infection, it is a lifelong and recurrent ulcerative episodes may occur. The median recurrence rate is 4 to 5 episodes per year. So it is a lifelong infection which recurs. Its recurrence time is 4 to 5 episodes per year. But even if patient is asymptomatic, they can shed the bacteria shed the virus. Asymptomatic or subclinical infection does occur as to subclinical recurrence accompanied by viral shedding without visible ulcers. Even if when patient is asymptomatic, they shed the virus. So these subclinical episodes are infectious to sexual partners. There is no cure for HSV2 infection. However, oral antiviral medications such as acyclovir, valacyclovir, and famciclovir are all effective in reducing severity and duration of episodes. Topical creams are less effective in herpes infection. The next is human papillomavirus. Human papillomavirus, it causes anogenital warts which vary from common soft flesh-colored protuberance which may become exuberant, that is cauliflower-like, to papillar flat warts on drier areas. For example, on the shaft of penis, which resembles those seen on other parts of the body. They can be seen anywhere in the genitalia, including in the other commonly recognized manifestation of genital HPV infection is cervical cancer, which is caused by subtypes of HPV. Treatment is for large lesions because subclinical infections tend to resolve on their own. For any viral infection, the manifestation of control is prevention, especially in young sexually active individuals. Regular examination of cervix and cervical cytology using pap smear or pap staining methods, which is recommended for female patients and female contacts in order to detect progression of lesions to cervical cancer. So detection programs based on cervical cytology screening and colposcopy services have been successfully in curbing the incidence of and mortality of cervical cancer. So today we have seen number of diseases. We'll revise in short. Gonorrhea and syphilis yesterday. Today is chlamydia trachomatis, trichomoniasis, lymphogranulum venereum, chancroid, donovanosis, genital herpes, and human papilloma infections.